And then he says, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَهْتَدُونَ, in order that you might be guided. Don't think that this guidance is simply the guidance of knowing where you're going on these material roads. This is guidance of knowing where your heart is going, on the path that your heart is following to your Lord, because this is the primary guidance that Allah has given us, and everything else is a metaphor. إِنَّمَا الْكَوْنُ مَعَانٍ قَائِمَةٌ بِالصُّوَرٍ كُلُّ مَنْ يُدْرِكُ هَذَا كَانَ مِنْ أَهْلِ الْعِبَرِ. These are only meanings set up in images. And everyone who understands and comprehends this, these are from the people of ibar, from the people of discernment. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَعَلَمَاتٍ, and these signs we have given you, وَبِالنَّجْمِ هُمْ يَهْتَدُونَ. These signs that Allah has given us, and by the star they are guided. وَالنَّجْمِ إِذَا هَوَى. Who is the star? Who is the star of this whole universe? Who is the qutb of this universe? وَبِالنَّجْمِ هُمْ يَهْتَدُونَ وَالنَّجْمِ إِذَا هَوَى. According to some of our mufassirin, one of the isharat, and we don't in any way deny, like Sidi Ahmed Zarruq radiallahu anhu says, that an ishara is taken as a symbolic understanding of the Quran without negating its outward meaning, because we're not batiniya. These are isharat, and we're not saying that this is the only meaning. Allah has given multiple meanings in His book. But وَالنَّجْمِ إِذَا هَوَى, Allah has sworn by the star. And according to our mufassirun, the star was the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Mecca. He was the star of Quraysh. He was their najm. He was al-Amin. He was a Sadiq al-Amin. He was the Hashemite who was told about in the Torah and in the Injil, in the books of the Jews, in the books of the Christians, in the books of the Farsis, in the books of the Hindus, in the books of the Buddhists. He's in the Dhammapada. When Buddha says, how do I praise the one who is of pure gold? How do I praise the one that even the Creator praises? Thomas Cleary in his translation of that said, the final messenger, and this is from the earliest Sanskrit Pali manuscript of the Buddha, he says that the last and final prophet is whose name means the praiseworthy one. Every prophet who has come spoke of this star, who when he appeared, everything would be arighted, because he is the qutb of existence, he is the hub of existence, and everything revolves around his guidance. The hub, without it, no wheel can move. When you look at the North Star, watch the stars as they move around it. All of them are dependent on that North Star. The North Star is the axis upon which the earth is aligned. The earth is a sign of God. The earth is traveling in an incredible orbit of 66,000 miles per hour. 66,000 miles around the sun, moving at 1,000 miles around itself, slightly tilted to 23.5 degrees to give us 4 seasons without which we couldn't live. يُولِجُ اللَّيْلَ فِي النَّهَارِ وَيُولِجُ النَّهَارَ فِي اللَّيْلِ. He causes the sun to move into He causes the day to move into the night and the night to move into the day. Allah has done this for us so that we might live on this planet and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَبِالنَّجْمِ هُمْ يَهْتَدُونَ. By stars they are guided. By the stars they are guided. We've forgotten about the heavenly stars. We've forgotten that our Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Ashabi kan-nujum." My companions are like stars. بِأَيْهِمْ اقْتَدَيْتُمْ اهْتَدَيْتُمْ. Any of them that you follow, you will be guided. We live in a universe. We have stars up there that if you look up at them and watch them throughout the year, you will see patterns that only a creator who is sustaining his existence could place into the heavens. When you see these stars out there, you should know that like the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لا أقسم بمواقع النجوم وإنه لقسم لو تعلمون عظيم. I swear by the positions of the stars, and this is a vast oath if you but knew. Our ulama say مواقع النجوم are the places where the verses of the Quran are put, and also the places where the stars in the heaven are put, because the Quran is constellations of meaning. Just like we have suwar in the heavens, the constellations, we have suwar in the earth, which are the chapters of the Quran that Allah has given us to guide ourselves by. This is the guidance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given humanity. And He has commanded us to follow that guidance. Now I just want to finish this by saying, when you look up into the heavens, I want you to reflect on one thing here. According to the United States Navigational Guide, the United States Navigational Guide, in other words, a guide that navigators learn how not to go astray when they travel in the earth. There are 51 navigational stars used to guide people in the night. And I will tell you, and this is a true story, I was on a British Airways flight to England from San Francisco, and they have a little box that shows you where the plane is at any given time. Now, I know that the Great Circle route out of San Francisco were 18 degrees to the northeast. And the planes travel by the Great Circle route. Well, I noticed that we were just slightly over Denver, Colorado, and we should have been in Canada. So I called the stewardess and I said, I think we're off course. She said, what? She got really scared. And I said, we should be somewhere over Canada, and we're not. We're over. She ran to the phone and called the captain. Maybe it was hijacked or something. So then she came back to me a few minutes later and said, it's all right, it's all right. He explained it to me. And then she left. About 5 minutes later, she came up to me and she said, the captain wants to see you in the cockpit. So I walked up, went through the first class, opened the door, came in. There were two seated, the captain and the co-pilot. And there was a big chair right in the middle. And he said, have a seat. So I'm on a 747, sitting in this chair with the captain and the co-pilot coming from economy class, which is very cramped, and having a better than a first class seat. So I didn't ask for tea or anything. I wasn't going to push it. So he said to me, are you a pilot? And I said, I'm not a pilot. And he said, how did you know we were off course? And I said, because I know the Great Circle route, and I read a little bit about navigation, and I knew that we were off course. We should have been 18 degrees. We were about 65 or 70. He said, you're right. And I'll tell you a little secret. In the wintertime, we don't fly the Great Circle to England. We fly a loxodromic route. And he said, even though it's a longer distance, we get there faster and save fuel because we go into a jet stream. And I thought of the Prophet's dua, وَطْوِي عَنَّا بُعْدَهُ, and lessen the distance of this journey for us. And I realized it wasn't majaz, it was haqiqi, that Allah can actually take a direction and make it less than another direction because you go into a jet stream. So then we began to talk, and he started pulling out all the maps and showing me how they did it and everything. And I was having a wonderful lesson in geography and navigation. And then I said to him, can I ask you something? What do you guys do if all the machines go down and you don't have any navigational tools? At that point, he did a wonderful thing, and I thank Allah for this blessing. He turned off all the lights in the cockpit. And suddenly, the glory of the heavens manifests right before our eyes. And he said, we always have the stars. That's what he said to me. We always have the stars. And he said, and most importantly, we always have the North Star, Al-Qutb, and the southern Qutb, Suhail, which is called Canopus, which many people don't know. But Ibn Abbas told us that the Kaaba is aligned to Canopus. The Kaaba is aligned to Canopus. The Kaaba is astronomically aligned to the winter and the sun, the summer, moon rise and moon set. And it's aligned to Canopus. Now, one of the extraordinary things about Canopus, which is called Suhail in the Arabic language, is what NASA uses to guide their space satellites. It is the star used by NASA. And this is the point of all of this.